Oh, do you know the fireman, the fireman, the fireman?
Good day, it's Mr. Alan again, and I'm happy to have you in another segment of science, and I'm glad to host you today. So we're going to be looking at another interesting topic tagged animal integuments, or in other words, body covering. So to look at this, we're going to look at the word for today. We're learning to explore different body coverings or integuments of different animal species. So at the end of the day, we're going to explore different body coverings of different animals and their usefulness to them. Okay, what I'm looking for is your ability to identify different animal species by their body coverings. So at the end of this lesson, I expect of you all to be able to identify different animals by their peculiar body covering or integument, and probably able to tell the usefulness to that particular organism. So this is a picture showing different animal integuments. But first, integument has to do with covering on the body of an animal. And it will be worthy of note that the integument or the body covering of an animal adds up to 15 to 20% of its total body weight. What that implies is that when you subtract other weights caused by the organs of the body, the integument alone adds up to 15 to 20% to that total body weight. And also it is worthy of note that the skin is the largest organ in the body of animals, because it covers an animal from the head to the toe, or from the head to the sole of his feet, and also the internal organs are covered with skin. So we have both internal and external skin covering, all leading to the topic body integument. Alright, having said that, now this is a body integument for a particular animal. Here I have the body of a giraffe. As you can see, they have fur on their body. This is the animal skin, and you see a lot of fur on them. This is also an animal with fur on the skin. This is the body of a snake, an animal with scales on the skin. Here I have the body of a zebra. A zebra's body is covered with fur. Here I have the body of a bird. It's covered with feathers. That's an integument for them. This is a snake also. The body is covered with scales. Here I have the ladybug integument. They have an exoskeleton. All insects have an exo or external skeleton. Okay, this is a picture showing different animal coverings, and for some animals what they have as their integument is the shell, and the shell serves for protection against environmental impacts and also predators. For other animals, they have feathers on their body in the case of birds, then fur in the case of herbivores and other mammals. Then most reptiles possess scales on their body as a body covering. Mammals mostly possess fur or hair on their body. Fur in the case of other lower mammals, and hair in the case of men. So they all serve different purposes on the body of these animals. Then some other animals have what we call smooth skin. They don't have scales, they don't have hair or fur. Their skin is just smooth to the touch. So we're going to be looking at how important these animal coverings are, because they help to cover the body of these animals and protect them from environmental hazards or impacts. Alright, look at these animals closely. They are all covered with different body covering or integument. A parrot here, they have feathers on their body because all birds have feathers on their body, and so also with this bird here. Also, going further, I'll be looking at fur, feathers and scales. So animals that have feathers on them are mostly birds, and feathers serves mostly the function of covering the body for protection. It serves as a means of beautification. It serves as a means for flight because it adds up to the wings that gives them a lift to fly in the sky or in the air. Then snakes generally possess scales. They belong to the class Reptilia. Then other mammals like this possess fur on their body, and the fur also helps in protecting the body from external hazards, such as a cloth for them, and it helps them to regulate their body temperature. So different animals wear different types of body covering. We call these coverings integuments. Now, smooth-skinned animals are animals that generally possess a smooth skin, which is the first integument I'm looking at this morning. Their bodies are covered in smooth skin with or without patterns. Example is the catfish, dolphins, whales, and so on. So if you look at this picture here, the catfish has a smooth body. Even though it's a fish, it doesn't have scales, but it has a very hard covering on the head area that produces protection and strength or rigidity. Alright. Now I have insects. Insects are of the class Insecta. They all possess an exoskeleton, otherwise known as external skeleton, for protection from impacts arising from the external environment. Examples are dragonfly. I believe we've seen dragonflies along the shores of rivers. They like dwelling near water and they lay their eggs there too. House flies, mosquitoes, we're all familiar with these insects, beetles, bugs, and so on. As you can see, their body, they possess an exoskeleton and it's so armored. In the case of this beetle here, the armored beetle, this is a ladybug. It has an exoskeleton protecting its body, and that is its own integument. And here we have a moth in the butterfly family. They also have exoskeleton that covers their body from the head to the thorax and to the abdomen. So this gives them a means of protection. As you can see, it also serves as a means of ornamentation or beautification. Alright, I move on to fishes. They are the class Pisces, and they possess scales of different shapes or patterns. Example is the tilapia fish, the tuna, the salmon, and so many other species of fish. So in this case, this is the night tilapia. You can see the scales on the body. They are well arranged and patterned. So it serves as a means to cover the skin from environmental hazards in aquatic environment. Also serves as a means of protecting them from certain entrance of diseases through water. Gives them an armor that helps to also not allow water to enter their body in excessive amount. So these are other scales other fishes possess in different patterns. Okay, so I go to reptiles. Reptiles are of the class Reptilia. They also possess scales on their bodies. For example, we have lizards, we have chameleons, snakes, and so on. So this is a lizard perching on a stone. You can see the body is covered in scales up to the tail region. This is the body of a snake. Look at the pattern scales on the body. They are looking so armored, and it gives it structure, it gives it shape, and it gives it protection and perform other useful covering for the snake in its environment. Okay, moving on to slimy animals. Animals that are slimy are of the phylum Mollusca. They are commonly called molluscans. Their bodies are covered with shells. Examples, we have snails. I believe we're all familiar with snails. You can see them in the environment. They are covered with shells and they have a soft body and that is slimy. They don't have legs, but they have a flat foot that can move from one place to another. We have slugs. Slugs are found in water bodies like rivers, and they are also members of the family of the molluscans. Then we have periwinkles and many other slimy animals. So as you can see in this picture, we have different structure and shape and pattern of shells. This has as a protection or integument or covering for the body of these animals when they are in their immediate environment. So a little or any slightest disturbance from the environment or from predators, they quickly withdraw into their shell, and when they do that, they are protected from harm's way. Alright, birds are of the class Aves. The collection of feathers on the entire body of birds is called plumage. It's called what? Plumage. That's right. For example, pigeons, dove, parrots, kingfisher. It's a particular species of bird that feeds on fishes. That's why it is called kingfisher. Then the crow bird and so on. They all possess feathers of different patterns like this. In the picture, you can see them. We call the collection of these feathers on the body of birds plumage, as earlier established. So this is a parrot. You can see its plumage or its feathers well arranged in different colors. I can see red, blue, yellow, green, and it gives them special appearance or beautification. You can also see the legs of a bird covered in scales, but the body is covered with feathers. So feathers help to regulate their body temperature because most birds are warm-blooded animals. Away from cold-blooded animals that always stay in water and are always bask under the sun, these animals can regulate their own body temperature with the help of these feathers. If the weather is extremely cold, the feathers tend to overlap on each other, in order to allow the entrance of excessive cold into their body. But when the temperature is a bit high, then the feathers tend to rise, and the tip helps to push away some of the reflection of the sun so that their body is maintained at a regular temperature. Alright, having said that, other mammals apart from man, these are animals of the class Mammalia. They possess fur on their bodies. For example, gorilla, monkeys, baboons, lemurs, tarsiers, simians, lories, dogs, goats, sheep, cattle, and cow. They all belong to this group, and they have furs on their body, as you can see here. This is the fur, this is a gibbon, this is a lemur. They have furs that covers their body for protection and other important purposes. So humans here is the highest animal in the classification of animals in the class Mammalia in the animal kingdom. And they are of the class Mammalia. They possess hair as their body covering. The only mammals that have hairs on their body is man, and they are highly organized, they are highly intelligent. They have a very high level of intelligence quotient, which separates them from other mammals. So as you can see, there are traces of hairs on this body of this man here, and these are the early men. They walk naked, they were not clothed then. You can see hairs all over their body. So now this is a modern man with clothes on his body, but still has hairs some parts of his body. I hope we enjoyed our time out here talking about animal integuments. So animal integument, like I said from the inception, is simply the body coverings of different animals in different shapes and patterns, which serve different purposes like protection, ornamentation or beautification, temperature regulation, and so many other importance from environmental hazards and predatory attacks. So I want to explore more on animal integuments, and I'll see you in my next segment. So for now, it's bye from Zoologist Alan. Thank you for your audience.